Today we're talking about balancing hormones and fertility.
The fall brings in the yin part of the year. It's slowing and nurturing and that feminine energy. Whereas we just came out of spring and summer, which was more yang and outward and fast and that masculine energy. And both are so important for balancing on a yearly cycle. But there's also a monthly moon cycle, which is the feminine energy cycle. And all women cycle with this energy no matter what stage of life you're in, from premenstrual to postmenopausal. Even if you've had a hysterectomy or you're on birth control, you're still affected and should tap into this powerful moon cycle.
So it's especially important for both men and women to embrace and celebrate this feminine energy during this time of year. The beauty of the feminine is the ability to create. So as women, we are born with 1,000,000 eggs. Obviously, not all of those were meant to be turned into children. Rather, it represents this ability to have these fertile ideas to birth into this world and to create. So it's really important for us to nourish ourselves to be fertile, whether we want to have kids or not. So our ability to nourish this creativity is our superpower.
And in this modern world, it's very masculine, where that high energy is super praised and the yin feminine energy is even looked at as a weakness. But what we're saying today is embrace and honor your feminine superpowers. And by doing this, you will help your hormones balance.
And when we do see hormone imbalance, we look to two places. We look to cortisol and stress, and then we also look to insulin resistance and nourishment. So when either of these are out of balance, this is when we see hormone imbalance, especially estrogen dominance in this day and age.
And this can show up as PMS, a difficult menopause, irregular periods, PCOS, endometriosis, infertility, and even thyroid diseases.
So to balance and heal all of these conditions, we want to embrace the fall energy, because it's all about slowing down, going within, and reducing stress, which is going to help eliminate that cortisol factor.
For more information on this, check out our work-life balance episode.
And also at the exact same time, we want to bring in these deeply nourishing foods to help regulate our insulin levels and our insulin resistance. So we look to all these winter squashes, the root veggies, and the cinnamon. And also, if we want to clear out all of the excess hormones like estrogen, the best food to do that is cruciferous veggies.
And for more info on that, check out our cruciferous veggie episode.
And then finally, to get back into the rhythm of that moon cycle, we can use something like seed cycling.
And for more information on seed cycling, see our seed and sprout episode. And so nature makes it really easy to spot these fertile phallic symbols in nature. They're full of seeds and ideas and creativity, and we love to eat them as a whole food. We love to eat their seeds. They're so delicious. So get into these fall foods, and as you're eating them, think of what seeds you'd like to plant and nourish through the winter of yourself. Maybe it's a new business idea. Maybe it's a new recipe.
And this week, our recipe is this beautiful stuffed acorn squash. So the symbolism of this recipe is really beautiful, because again, we're using this fertile squash that's holding all of this nourishing rice and nuts and seeds and all of these delicious warming veggies that is really going to help nourish you and balance you during this time of year.
So head on over to simply-seasonal.com, sign up for emails, get this stuffed acorn squash recipe, and so much more.
Well, that sounds simple enough.
Because it's simply seasonal. Today we made this amazing wild rice blend. It's kind of made like stuffing with celery and onions, cranberries, mushrooms, and we're going to stuff it inside of a baked acorn squash. We simply just cut it in half, and you'll have to work the knife to get down through it. Now you see it's a little bit wobbly, so what I like to do is just make a nice slice along the bottom. So now it sits nice and flat. So we'll scrape out the center with all the seeds. So sometimes there's a lot of this squishy stuff, especially when it comes to pumpkin, the slimy stuff. So what I'm gonna do is soak it in some water. And this is gonna help everything kind of separate, makes it easier to just pull it off, and then the seeds are gonna float to the top. So to bake the acorn squash, we're just gonna set it in the pan, drizzle it with some oil, sprinkle some salt on it, and pepper. Then I'm just going to turn them upside down so they more steam on themselves, because we're gonna put some water in the bottom of the pan so it doesn't dry out too much. I'm gonna set this in the oven at 400 for about 30 to 45 minutes. We took our squash seeds out about 20 to 30 minutes, and they came out nice and toasted and so delicious. The squashes took a little bit longer, more like 45 minutes, and look how beautiful they come out. And then we take this fabulous wild rice mixture that we've made, and you can serve this right in the squash. And you can even garnish with the squash seeds. Enjoy it as a vegetarian meal on its own, or on the side with a pork chop or some chicken.